What is up, guys? I've got a pretty interesting video for you guys for today because we're not going to be doing anything engine related or anything performance related. We're actually going to be doing something cosmetic on the Dakota. And this part I'm going to be putting on here is a little bit special because this is the first mod I ever did to my original green Dakota like 5 or 6 years ago. I bought this thing I think back in 2014. This is the exact part that was on that truck. I got rid of it because it didn't fit quite right, and I have ended up with it back. I'm going to try and get this thing to work on my current Dakota. And what I'm talking about is this old fiberglass roll pan. The brand that this thing was made by is no longer around, and there's probably a good reason for it because this thing had fitment issues from day one, which is why I never left it on the truck. It looked good, but it just didn't fit right. When this thing is on, or when this thing was on my truck, because the back portion here, which is actually cut off now, you can kind of see it's kind of jagged because I wasn't worried about cutting it straight because you don't even see that when it's on the truck. But that portion where it comes up and you're used to actually like bolt this thing to the truck had too aggressive of a curve or a curl to the back of it. They probably molded it wrong and it curled while it was curing, and they shipped the thing out to me anyway, and you couldn't open the tailgate with it on there, which is really annoying. So I took it off, got rid of it, gave it to somebody. They actually had it on their truck for a while, which is, I think it was painted white before they even had the truck it was on. But I ended up with the thing back, found out they still had it, and I was like, hey, I kind of want it because I want to get rid of this old crusty bumper that is on this truck right now. So the other day I caught my shin on this thing, and that's when I was like, alright, I'm over this thing. So I texted my friend and was like, hey, do you still have that roll pan? He said sure, and I ended up with it back. So the roll pan, in case you aren't aware, it's basically replaces your bumper on a pickup truck. You take the bumper off, you put the roll pan in its place pretty much. It's a lot flusher looking, and it doesn't stick out as far, and they're a lot lighter as well, which is kind of a bad thing because I'm going to have even more traction issues than I have right now. But this bumper, as you can see, completely rotted out, completely twisted and mangled up, so it needs to go. And this roll pan, once it's cleaned up and mounted up, this thing's going to look a lot nicer. So my plan now is to take this aluminum angle iron and rivet or bolt it to the top of the lower part of the roll pan and use this angle iron to mount it onto the truck. The rivets I have, I was going to put this thing on before starting the video, but the rivets I have are too short, so I'm going to go and see if I can get some longer rivets to put these together. If not, I'm just going to get bolts and nuts and put them on that way. But I was going to get the center one in so that I could get it twisted and measure its distance on each side, get it sit right, and then put some rivets or bolts or whatever on the outside so that I could have it centered right. And then once I have, the three of them in there and the angle iron is centered right, I'm going to pre-drill some holes into the angle iron that'll be used to bolt it to the truck. And then this thing needs a lot of sanding done. So there's like 3 or 4 layers of paint. There's the original green paint and primer that I put on it like 5 years ago, and then this white paint and a little bit of blue paint on top of it. So it needs a lot of sanding. I have an orbital sander that I got for Christmas last year and I haven't used it yet, so I'm going to give that thing a shot. I got some Bondo glass stuff here. There's a crack on this thing. Oh, there's 2. There's this one here and this one here. This one's actually a hole where somebody cut into it, and then there's a crack right here. So I'm going to use the Bondo glass and put it on the back to fix the crack, and then I'm going to put body filler on the top to fill the holes and stuff in. And then there's some little holes on the sides that I'm probably just going to fill in just for the sake of having it taken care of so that they don't spread and turn into cracks. There's more over here. And then once I've got it sanded and cleaned up, all the cracks and holes are fixed, I'll just be painting it black, and then I'll be getting it mounted up onto the truck. I'm going to get it mounted and test fit and everything onto the truck before I paint it so I don't scratch the fresh paint. And then when I do the final install with it to the truck, I'm probably going to rivet it, but I'm not 100% for sure. I might just use self-tappers, bolt and nut. I don't really know yet. I'm going to head out right now, get some bolts, rivets, whatever I end up having to get, and then we'll come back and start test fitting this thing and kind of get stuff mocked up. Alright, the old bumper is off and it's just kind of hanging out right there. And I do have the roll pan and the tailgate on. The roll pan is just held on with some self-tappers. At the moment, just 3 of them, and then the tailgate's back on so I can test the fitment. And this thing still has the same issue as it always has had. So as you can see, I've got it sitting pretty much where it's supposed to be, maybe a tad bit high. And if I open the tailgate, as you can see, it pushes it down. It is making contact. So this is why I wanted to mock it up first and get the holes kind of drilled and set. So what I'm going to do is pull the tailgate back off. I'm going to go in here and undo all but one self-tapper, and I'm going to lower the roll pan down like 1/4 of an inch maybe, just so that the tailgate can open, and then that should solve this issue. This is the same issue I had before. This thing should have considerably more room between it and the tailgate, but it just doesn't. And I guess the point, maybe it's supposed to sit kind of behind the tailgate, but this thing isn't molded right. As you can see, the curve on it doesn't really follow wow, we are out of focus. It doesn't really follow the curve of the bed very well either. The whole thing is just kind of warped. Once it clears the tailgate, I'm going to pull it back off and start sanding it. I'm not going to sand it today, but once mock-up is done and once I can open the tailgate, it'll be time to go sand it, clean it, get it repaired, and then throw some paint on it and then do the final install here. I'm going to pull the tailgate off and re-mock up this thing, try to get it to fit. And if it does fit, I'll let you guys know, and then we'll probably get back tomorrow or the day after. We'll get to sanding on this thing, get it cleaned up, and get to painting it. I was able to get the roll pan to fit, and the tailgate can open without clearing it. I'm not going to demonstrate it right now, but it completely clears, so that is all good. I think it'll look pretty good once it's all painted. It'll match the bed cap and the front valance that's on here. So, and it took a lot of weight off the back, so I'm probably gonna have some spinny tire issues even more significantly than I did before. In fact, the back end actually raised up maybe 1/4 of an inch with all the weight of that thing off, because we've got bigger tire gap here than we do in the front now, and it used to be pretty even, but that's how it goes sometimes. So I'm going to end the video for now. Tomorrow or the day after, it just depends on how motivated I'm feeling, we'll go and get this thing pulled back off, start sanding it, and start getting some repairs done, start painting it, and then I'll let it cure overnight. And then we will come over here and put it back on the truck the following day. So I will see you guys tomorrow. Alright, it is the next day. My face is probably covered in sanded off paint right now, but I sanded the entire roll pan top and bottom. Got the crack pretty much fixed. You can see I can't really sand it all the way down because the rivets are there, but this whole top piece where I didn't sand all the paint off, you aren't really going to see when it's on the truck because the tailgate covers it, whether it's open or closed. And then back here behind the license plate, I didn't get super carried away, but like the front sides here are all taken care of. The two cracks right there, that one wasn't a crack, but it was thin. And then right there, that crack, I just took some Bondo hair and just reinforced it to stiffen it up so that the cracks don't spread. And then you really cannot see them anymore. If I was real crazy, I would go in here and I would add another set of Bondo to this, but I'm really not that worried about little tiny spots. This thing should look fine. So I'm going to go take this thing and blow it off with the air compressor, blow myself off with the air compressor, wipe it down with some isopropyl alcohol just to get the last bit of dirt and dust off of it. I'm going to set it up outside, put some paint and primer on it. Yeah, I'm going to go get this thing out, get it all cleaned up, and I'll start laying some paint on it. Alright, there it is. I went outside, got it primed and painted. It's not 100% perfect, but all the areas that you're going to see the most of, which is this front face here and these edges here, are pretty good. The worst spots are inside the license plate thing, which is going to be covered by the plate, and you're not really going to see that. And then the back side up here, you can't really tell in this light, but there's some pretty nasty spots where I didn't get all the old paint sanded off of it, but I don't really care that much. The front face areas, you're really going to see this front face here, the perimeter around the license plate, and the edges I got completely cleaned up. They all look really good. It's just the parts that you're not going to see that I didn't take too much time on. So for like a 50% effort job, it doesn't look too bad. And the fact that I used this paint right here, the good old Walmart special, $1.50 a can. So it's painted. I'm going to let it cure overnight, because it's got a lot of layers of primer and a lot of layers of paint on it. I used a can and a half of that paint and a full can of primer, just stuff that had been laying around for a while. The primer was like 5 or 6 years old. In fact, the primer I used was stuff that I bought when I originally bought this roll pan. Now that I think about it, where is it? This stuff. Very good quality primer. Like, this is like pretty legit stuff as far as aerosol can stuff goes. I bought that when I bought that thing, which was way back in like 2014. It's pretty much a perfect match for the truck. It's not flawless, it's not 100% perfect, but it looks good enough to clean the whole back end of the truck up. So I will get back with you guys tomorrow. We'll get this thing finished and mounted up, and we'll get a good look at it outside in the daylight as well, because I need to go take the truck for a wash because there's dust all over this thing. Alright, I am back again. It is the next day once again, and I'm going to go ahead and show you guys what the roll pan looks like. It's actually a really nice warm day, but very, very humid. In fact, I need to show you guys just how much humidity is in the air. So yesterday, pulled a Mustang in the garage and truck outside. It was raining yesterday. There is still water on the Mustang that's been on here for over 24 hours, hasn't dried up. So I'm on the roof. The other day I opened the hood on the truck and there was still water between the hood and the grill. That's how much humidity. Like, normally pull a wet car into a garage within 24 hours the thing is dry, but like this actually back here might have dripped off of the garage door when I opened it, but I don't think it did. But all this up here, all the water on the hood, that has been there for a whole day. That is just crazy. I don't know why I'm so weirded out by that, but it's like 99% humidity out here because it's been raining and temperature got really warm and everything all of a sudden. But anyway, this is what the roll pan looks like. There we go. I think it looks pretty good. Matches the bed cap a little bit. Now it's gotten kind of dirty from the rain, so it's starting to kind of blend in with the truck. It definitely needs to get some road miles put on it so it doesn't look quite as new compared to all the old beat up paint and everything it's on here. There's still quite a bit of dust stuck to here. So I didn't use soap when I went to the car wash. I just rinsed it. I definitely should have used a bit of soap, but oh well. I think it looks pretty good regardless. I'll probably go and give this thing an actual wash pretty soon, but I wanted to get all of the loose dust off the tailgate and stuff from when I was sanding everything. But at least that's good info to know for when I go and wash my parents' car, because that one's covered in the stuff too. But I think it looks pretty good. Truck has, can't really tell if it has less traction than it did before with, you know, having the weight of the bumper back here, because the roads were wet yesterday. So I guess I'll find out tomorrow if the thing has less traction than it did before. Also, I have an idea for how to get the back tires to hook up better without doing anything with like weight or anything like that. Real cheap budget way to hopefully get those tires to stick a little bit better, because I know they're pretty old and worn out, but we'll do that later. Also, the truck should be going to the dyno tomorrow, so next video will be a dyno tune. We'll get some power numbers. It's going to be a nice cold day, like 30 or 40 degrees while we're out, so it should make plenty of power. Shouldn't have any heat soak issues. And it should be a lot drier out today, or drier out tomorrow than it is currently. The humidity is supposed to drop by the time tomorrow morning comes around. So I'm going to end the video here. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little roll pan install, and I will see you guys later.